Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as you can see here that basically in this lecture we are going to start the monsoons and climate in India. Okay, and that is going to be our part 1. Alright. Basically the monsoon and the climate. This is an important topic from the examination point of view. In various type of competitive exams, the questions are generally asked from this section. And this section formulates a way for the various things like the economy, thereafter like the geography, and even it is having some significance with the history. So we can say that the one single topic is connected with the multiple areas and the discipline. So that's why it's become important for us to discuss about this thing in a proper sense. Okay. So here you can say there is an introduction. The first thing that we are going to discuss, introduction, we will discuss the southwest monsoon season and the retreating monsoon season. Thereafter, the factors influencing the formation. In this, we will discuss the factors influencing the formation of southwest monsoon, differential heating and cooling, intertropical convergence zone (ITCZ), high pressure area in the east of Madagascar, heating of the Tibetan Plateau, jet streams, tropical easterly jet, that is also known as African easterly jets. Thereafter, the southern oscillation. Okay. Then we will discuss the southern oscillation in a proper sense apart from this as a factor only. Thereafter, we will discuss the mechanism and the onset of southwest monsoon, in which we will discuss the shift of ITCZ. Thereafter, southeast trade winds, then ITCZ and the monsoon trough. Thereafter, the jet streams, the modification of winds, and then the monsoon breaks. Then we will have a discussion over the retreating monsoon season, the weather conditions, and the cyclonic depressions. Then we will discuss the rainfall on the Coromandel coast, then northeast monsoon, then the impacts of monsoon on life in India, in which we will discuss the agricultural dependence, agricultural prosperity, regional crop diversity, cultural diversity, water resources, winter rainfall benefits. And the last one will be the negative impacts of monsoon on life in India, like rainfall variability, soil erosion, and the landslide in hill areas. Okay. So we can say these all are the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. Okay. But first, we will start our discussion from the disclaimer. And the disclaimer is like, the images that we have used in a slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and the owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. Okay. Now, first would be the introduction part. So if we talk about this monsoon, the introduction of monsoon. So monsoon as a season is typically experienced in the tropical regions of the globe, the regions that lies between 20° north latitude to 20° south latitude. India's climate is also one amongst them and classified as an monsoon climate due to our position between these two latitudes. This is also a characteristic found in the southern and the southeastern Asia. It means not only in India, but in South and Southeast Asia, these regions also have the same condition. Among India's 4 seasonal divisions, there are 2 that are related to the monsoon. The first one is the southwest monsoon season. So southwest monsoon season generally occurs from June and lasts till September. Rainfall during this period is seasonal. Okay. it means the rain that we are having on that time is because of the monsoon season is going on. Thereafter, the retreating monsoon season. This occurs between October and November, and this is basically known for the withdrawal of the monsoon. It means the monsoon season that came during the June to September, that would be returning or retreating between October to November, and the rainfalls that happened over that time, these rainfalls were happening as the withdrawal of the monsoon winds. Okay. So if we talk about the factors, so there are several factors that contribute to the formation of the southwest monsoon. Okay. Like this one, you can say cold air, heavy density, sea breeze, and western coast. So now this is just an example of this. But if we go more in the deep sense, then we can say the first factor is the differential heating and the cooling. So if we go by the mechanism, we can say the land and the water, they having their different specific heats. Okay. It means that the rate of their heating up and cooling down is at different rates. During the day, the land heats up quickly because it having a lower specific heat compared to the weather. But at night, the water gets heat up and lands cool down fast. Okay. So because of this, the creation of high and the lower pressure shifted from land to sea and sea to land respectively. All right. If we talk about the impact on the monsoon, in summer, the Indian landmass heats up rapidly, creating a low pressure over the land. Okay. And remember always the wind flow is from high to low. Okay. So that's why the surrounding oceans, because those oceans were slowing to heat up, they maintain relatively high pressure over this. And this pressure difference basically drives moist air from the ocean towards the land and causes the monsoon winds. Conversely, during the winter time, the land cools down faster and creates a high pressure area over the land and low pressure area over the ocean, leading to the reversal of wind. It means during the summertime, this is a flow of wind because here is the low pressure, here is the high pressure. When the monsoon is retreating, the flow gets reversed. Means the land is heating up, but the ocean is cools down. Okay. After this, the ITCZ, also known as Intertropical Convergence Zone. If we go by the description, we can say ITCZ is a region near to the equator where the trade winds of the northern and the southern hemisphere, they all got converged. And basically due to the conversion, there is a cause of zone of low pressure and the high precipitation. Alright. Like here you can say ITCZ. This layer is ITCZ. Okay. And this 0 degree latitude is basically the equator. Alright. So now you can say the winds coming from southern hemisphere and here the winds coming from northern hemisphere. Both the winds basically getting converged in this ITCZ. Okay. And remember, these winds are coming from the regions and also carries the moisture and all. So when they got converged with each other in the ITCZ, the intertropical convergence zone, that is a low pressure zone. Alright. So when they converge, basically their precipitation and their water droplets also got converged. And because of this area of ITCZ, that basically experiences the high precipitation. Okay. Than the other areas. Got it? Thereafter, the seasonal shift. So during the summertime, the ITCZ shifts northwards. It means if we talk about India, so basically it generally shifts towards the Ganga plain. Okay, in the northern areas. So because to this, there is a differential heating, which means the northern part during the summertime gets heat up vastly in comparison with the southern part. That's why in northern parts there is a creation of low pressure and automatically the ITCZ shift is there. This seasonal shift is known as the monsoon trough. Why? Because the shifting of ITCZ over the Ganga plains basically creates a immense low pressure. And that's why the winds that were flowing over the south or over the oceans, these winds get automatically attractive towards the northern plains. Why? Because of the shifting of the ITCZ. And this attractiveness converges the winds here. And as I have told you, the winds, when they converge, they basically causes the precipitation. And this precipitation is basically termed as a monsoon in our local terms. Got it? And this monsoon trough is very crucial for the onset and the distribution of monsoon rains in India. Like once the ITCZ will be shifted there, the winds will start going there and converting there. And the area which would be covered by the ITCZ throughout the country or throughout the Ganga plain. This entire area will be the area of low pressure. So this entire area will getting the winds converge there. And because of this conversion, the high precipitation would be there and causes a monsoonal rainfall. Okay. So now I hope you understand why the ITCZ is necessary. Thereafter, now we have the high pressure area east of Madagascar. So where is the Madagascar? Here, if you look at this map, then you will see this is in Africa, this is our India, this is Australia, this is China, and this is the Middle Eastern countries. So near Africa, here you can see there is a small island that was used to be the part of this main country. If you look at this boundary and if you look at this boundary, you will find that these both are connected to each other. So this small island is known as the island of Madagascar. Got it? Alright. So now we are talking about the high pressure in the east of Madagascar. As you can see over here. This is an east of this island and there is a high pressure. Okay. So how does this is helpful for us? This is we are required to be understand. So we could understand it through these two areas, location and characteristics, and then the influence on the monsoon. So this high pressure area is typically located around 20 degrees south in the Indian Ocean. That is known as Mascarene High. Okay. Like here you can say, these are the latitude, 30 degree, 0 degree, 30 degree. Between this, there is a 20 degree latitude over here. So if we connect it to this place, then we will find that this high pressure that was creating in the Indian Ocean was actually creating on or around 20 degree south latitude. Okay. And this higher pressure is often termed as Mascarene High for our better understanding and all. Thereafter, the influence on monsoon if we talk about. So the position and the strength of this high pressure system generally influence the flow of winds towards the Indian subcontinent. Okay. Like here you can say this is our India as I have told you. So now you can say this convergence of the winds at this high pressure and want to the low pressure. So you can say that there is a high pressure and because of the ITCZ there is a low pressure. So the winds automatically traveling from here to there. Okay. So this high pressure or the Mascarene High having a significant role in deflecting the winds that having the moisture towards the mainland of India. Alright, or the Indian subcontinent. A stronger high pressure area can intensify the monsoon winds, while a weaker can diminish their strength. Like the more high this area would be, this Mascarene High would be, the more strong the winds convergence would be there in India. It means the monsoon intensity is more over dependent on the strength of the muscarine high. The lower the strength this muscarine high would have, the lower the convergence of the wind would be there, and the lower the strength or the intensity of monsoon we will have in our country. Okay, so muscarine high intensity is necessary for maintaining the intensity of good monsoon in the country that we are living in. Got it? So remember these points that we have discussed over here. Now let's move forward to the another point. Okay, so now you can see there is an point 4. This is the heating of Tibetan Plateau. So first is the summer heating. During the summer, the Tibetan Plateau actually heats up significantly. This intense heating creates strong vertical air currents and the low pressure area at high altitudes. And these high altitudes are generally about 9 kilometers above the sea level. Okay. Thereafter, the impact on monsoon. The low pressure at higher altitudes over the Tibetan Plateau helps in drawing the most monsoon winds from the Indian Ocean towards the Indian subcontinent, and this automatically contributing to the monsoon intensity that we will have in our country. After this, the jet streams. First one is our westerly jet streams. So in the winter times, the westerly jet streams are situated south of the Himalayas. Okay, but during the summer time, it moves northwards over the Himalayas, and because of this allows the tropical easterly jet streams movement to take this place over the Indian peninsula, which automatically condenses down the heating winds and causes the precipitation. Then tropically easterly jet streams. This jet stream is also known as the African easterly jets. This blows from east to west over the India during the summer months, and during its presence is associated with the establishment and maintenance of the southwest monsoons. Okay. Then 6th point, tropically easterly jet, also known as African easterly jet. Influence. The tropical easterly jet plays a critical role in the onset and the strength of monsoon, helps the vertical movement of moist air, enhance the rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. Okay, so like the moist air that we have during the ITC jet formation, this got condensed in the vertical movement because of the presence of African easterly jet, and this enhances the rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. Okay. Thereafter, the southern oscillation. Definition if we talk about, the southern oscillation refers to the periodic reversal of the pressure differences between the tropical easterly South Pacific Ocean and tropical eastern Indian Ocean. El Nino and La Nina. So during the El Nino years, the pressure in the eastern Pacific that drops, leading to the weekend of monsoon winds and reduced rainfall in India. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the southern oscillation to discuss. So conversely, during the La Nina years, the pressure differences strengthens, often resulting in a strong monsoon and increase the rainfall in India. By understanding these factors, we can better appreciate the complexity and availability of the Indian monsoon systems. All right. Now, we have the mechanism and the onset of southwest monsoon to be discussed over here. So basically, the onset of the southwest monsoon, this monsoon that is coming from the south and coming from the west. Okay. So basically, if we talk about the mechanism on this, first is the shift of ITCZ. The intertropical convergence zone or the ITCZ shifts north and south of the equator with the apparent movement of the sun. Okay. In June, when the sun shines directly over the Tropic of Cancer, because of this, the ITCZ shifts northwards. Thereafter, the southeast trade winds. In June, the southeast trade winds of the southern hemisphere crosses the equator, but they generally influenced by the Coriolis force that is generated from the rotation of the Earth. And because of this, they start blowing from southwest to the northeast direction. These winds gather moisture as they travel over the warm Indian Ocean because they are traveling from the Indian Ocean to the Indian land because of differential heating of land and sea. Hereafter, now we have the ITCZ and the monsoon trough. So we know by July, the ITCZ generally moves towards the 20 to 25 degree north latitude, positioning itself in the Indo-Gangetic plain. Alright. The southwest monsoon then blow from the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. In this position, ITCZ often referred to as the monsoon trough. Got it? Then the jet streams. This is the shift of the ITCZ, and that is related to the withdrawal of the westerly jet streams from its mean position over the North Indian plains to the south of the Himalayas. Okay. And that time the easterly jet streams that are known as the Somali jets also, these get sets along in the 15 degree north latitude when after the westerly jet streams got withdrawn. And that is responsible for the burst of the monsoon in India. Why? Because the westerly jet streams that withdrawn and flowing and the easterly jet streams, the Somali jet, both of that got converged and both of that got combined. And because of this, that creates the total burst of the monsoon in India over the Indian plains and the territory of India and causes the huge rainfall. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the modification of winds if we talk about. So we could say, as the winds approach the land, their southwesterly direction is generally got modified by the relief and the thermal low pressure over the northwest India. Okay. And then the monsoon reaches the Indian landmass in two branches. First branch is an Arabian Sea branch. That is the winds that were originating from the Arabian Sea. Here you can see in this picture. Second one was the Bay of Bengal branch. It means these winds that were originating from the Bay of Bengal. Okay. These got deflected because of the Arakan Hills along the coast of Myanmar. So here you can see there is an Arakan Hills because it's the country of Myanmar. And when these winds flow there, they generally strikes here and then they start moving towards the Indian land. This branches enters the West Bengal state of India, this one, and the Bangladesh from the south and the southeast. That's why it is known as the Bay of Bengal branch and this is known as the Arabian branch. Remember, both of these are generally of the southwest monsoon. Okay, because they having the common origin of southwest, but then they deflected into the two branches. Thereafter, the monsoon breaks. The monsoon tends to have breaks in the rainfall, where rain occurs only for a few days at a time, interspersed with rainless intervals. It means that suppose if there is a season of June to September, that doesn't mean that the monsoon would be there for the continuous period. Okay, the monsoon will take a break, the rains will be stopped for some rainless intervals and then will continue as it is. These breaks are related to the movement of the monsoon trough. Despite a general pattern, there are noticeable regional variations in the climatic conditions within India. Okay. Thereafter, now we have the retreating monsoon season to be discussed. So the retreating southwest monsoon season is generally characterized by the clear skies and the rising temperature. Although the land remains moist during this time because the rains just stop, the combination of high temperature and the humidity creates the uncomfortable conditions that is known as the October heat. Because of the moisture, the heat absorption in the atmosphere goes high, and because of this, the humidity is increasing. And this humidity creates a combination of heat and the humous environment, and that is famously called as October heat. Temperature changes. In the second half of October, the temperatures begin to drop rapidly, especially in the northern Indian parts. The retreating monsoon season brings dry weather to the northern India, but accompanied by the rain in the eastern part of peninsula. October and November are the rainiest months of the year in these regions. Thereafter, if we talk about the cyclonic depressions, then we can say the widespread rain during this season is due to the cyclonic depressions that form over the Andaman Sea and then move across the eastern coastline of the southern peninsula. These tropical cyclones oftenly are very destructive, as you can see here, and they causes the huge impact over the coastal regions of India. The Coromandel coast, like this is the Coromandel coast, which is oftenly called as the eastern coast, and this is the Konkan and the western coast. During the retreating monsoon, this coast received the maximum rainfall from this depression. Thereafter, the northeast monsoon. Unlike the rest of India, which gets rains from the southwest monsoon between June and September, the northeast monsoon is vital for the farming and the water security in the southern regions. Why? Because first Arabian branch moves there and then Bay of Bengal branch moves there. This region does not receive any rainfall during this time. But when the monsoon goes back, it goes back by these regions. So because of this region receives the rainfall during the October and March. Thereafter, we talk about the impact of monsoon on the life in India, like the economic dependence, economic backbone. Agriculture is a crucial part of the Indian economy. Like about 64% of the population is still relying on agriculture for their livelihood. The majority of farmers in India depend on monsoon rains for the irrigation, as only a fraction of the agricultural land is irrigated through the artificial means like canals and wells. So that's why the rainfall is necessary during the monsoon so that irrigation could be sustainable. Subsistence farming. Many farmers practice the subsistence farming where crops are grown mainly for the local consumption. Monsoon rains ensure that these farmers could grow sufficient food to feed their families and the communities because they not selling the crops for earning the money. That's why they do not having the resources to implement some artificial means of irrigation. Thereafter, agricultural prosperity, timely rainfall. The success of Kharif summer crop season, which includes rice, maize and pulses, is largely dependent on the timely arrival of the monsoon. Early or delay monsoon could affect the sowing schedules and the crop yields as well. Thereafter, well-distributed rainfall. Even distribution of rainfall throughout the monsoon season is essential for the growth of crops. Uneven or excessive rainfalls could lead to the flooding, soil erosion, and crop damage, while insufficient rainfall could cause drought conditions in the area. Thereafter, regional crop diversity and climatic adaptation. Different regions in India receive varying amounts of monsoon rainfalls. Because of this, there is a leading diversity in the cropping patterns. For instance, The rice is predominantly grown in the regions with high rainfall, like the West Bengal and Kerala, while millet and pulses are more common in the drier areas like the Rajasthan and the Maharashtra. Thereafter, multiple crop cycles. In areas with the adequate monsoon rainfall, the farmers could often grow multiple crops in a year, thereby enhancing the food security and their economic stability. Cultural diversity, the food habits. The types of crops grown due to the regional monsoon variations also influences the local cuisines. For example, the heavy rainfall in Kerala supports the cultivation of rice and spices. That's why they having the main distinct culinary traditions by having the rice and the spices in most of their diets. Thereafter, clothing and housing. Traditional clothing and housing styles have evolved to suit the climatic conditions influenced by the monsoon patterns. In regions where the rainfall is heavy, houses often built with sloped roofs to prevent the water accumulation. And light breathable fabrics are preferred in the areas where the humidity is generally high. Thereafter, the water resources we talk about. So, replenishment of water bodies. Basically, when we use the water resources, the water in that resources got depleted because of the consumption. So, monsoon rains are vital for replenishing the lakes, rivers, and the groundwater levels. These water bodies crucial sources of water for the drinking, irrigation, and the industrial usage. Thereafter, the hydroelectric power. Many hydroelectric plants in India generally depend on the water stored in dams and receivers. And these resources must be replenished during the monsoon season. That helps in meeting the country's energy demands and also supporting the industrial activities. Then winter rainfall benefits. Temperate cyclones. Water rainfall. This brought by the temperate cyclone, and it is beneficial for rabi crops like the wheat, barley, and mustard. These crops are sown in winter and harvested during the springtime. Then the supplementary irrigation. This rainfall provides the essential moisture during the dry season, reducing the dependence on irrigation system and enhancing the productivity of winter crops. Then impact of monsoon on life in India. These positive impacts highlighted the crucial role of monsoon in sustaining agriculture, water resources, cultural diversity across India. Monsoon is just not a weather phenomena but a lifeline that significantly influences the socio-economic fabric of the country. Then if we talk about the negative impacts, first is the rainfall variability. Unpredictable pattern monsoon rainfall in India is highly variable both in terms of timing and quantity. This variability could lead to the periods of excessive rainfall or prolonged dry spells. Droughts. In regions where monsoon rainfall is insufficient or delayed, drought conditions could arise. These affect crop yields, leading to the food shortage and economic hardships of farmers. Water scarcity during the droughts also impacts the drinking water supply, livestock, and the industrial activities. Floods. Conversely, the regions receiving the excessive rainfall could experience floods. Flooding could cause widespread damage to the crops, homes, and infrastructure. Could also displace population, leading to the humanitarian crisis. Then the soil erosion. Intense rainfall. Monsoon rains often come in sudden, intense bursts. Such heavy rainfall can overwhelm the soil capacity to absorb water, leading to the surface runoff. Topsoil loss. The runoff carries away the nutrient-rich topsoil, which is vital for the agricultural loss of topsoil and reduces the soil fertility. Negatively impacted the agricultural productivity in the long term and thus the sedimentation, which means eroded depositants in the lakes, receivers, causing the sedimentation, reduces the water holding capacity of these water body, increasing the risk of future floods and reducing the availability of water for irrigation and drinking. Okay. So students, basically in this lecture, we have finished the part 1. In next lecture, we will continue with the part 2. Till then, just revise the facts and figures at all we have discussed in this lecture and be ready for the next lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.